We'll see if they can achieve victory here on Bank. In doing so, of course, would be knocking Order out of APAC South. They were there last year. We'll see if they can return. If they are to return, they have to win the last two maps, Bank and Clubhouse. And Order will be on the defense first. Obviously, for the last dance, they finished off Chalet in fine fashion. 5 of the last 7 rounds. Now coming over to Bank, they get to attack first. They can continue that momentum here. It's so important for Order to find a couple of rounds early on as we go through the ban phase.
Thatcher Finker once again. Much like Chalet, they're both taken off the board. Again, Thatcher very expected in the competitive sandbox, and Finker quite powerful in the current meta with nades in hand and health boosts galore. Kaid on Bank, expected, lots of hatches. As we just patiently wait for that final defensive ban. Hello everyone as well, we're back on the main channel where APAC really does belong. Quick reminder as well, follow at XenoxCast on Twitter for a 10% boost on your drops. That is 100% confirmed.
I can neither agree or disagree in that sentence, but thank you guys. Well done.
Pretty clean. I don't mind a good plug.
Let's head into Bank. Second map of this series. It's one full of tension though. I know you're feeling the tension, Guz, aren't you?
I can feel it in every bone in my body.
Yeah. With Order lose this, that's it. And you do then beg the question going into the rest of the year. Do they stick around? Either as a team, organization, there's so many questions.
Will you stick around if Order get knocked down?
I don't know. I could go on sabbatical. I'm sure most people would probably be happy with that.
I would be.
Yeah. You definitely.
Actually, no, I wouldn't. I would miss you a little bit.
A little bit. At least you're honest. So last dance up 1-0 in the series for those who have maybe only just either rejoined us or tuning in for the first time today. In this best of 3, they only need one more map. We head to Bank now for map number 2. This is Order's map pick,
protect your bombs from being
and they must get off to a good start. We head down to basement to kickstart things with Locker's CCTV. It's not a bad site of choice, and it looks like Order will be employing the smoke Tachanka strat.
And they're also using the Tachanka to create line to slap between the objective this time, so that's a nice little switch up from the last map where there was maybe some questionable mistakes and decisions regarding particular defensive setups and potentially as well some oversights from Order. Obviously the Tachanka and smoke combination on this particular objective, quite potent.
10 seconds
can
left.
sometimes waste up to half a round at times depending on how the
5 seconds left
utility
before
is used on that default plant position, and if the attack's a little bit slow, that can force their hand. They might need to plant on that red wall, they might need to send it deep and go for kills instead. So excited to see how efficient are the last stands on this particular objective. It looks like Order are committing to maybe a bit of a soft roam, or at least a clear of some of these drones, knowing that maybe they don't need to stall out too much time, but they'll fall back instead and find the safety of this basement floor.
Well, and as our wonderful host always likes to sort of bring up in terms of win conditions, the win condition here for Last Dance is to probably play through that lobby hatch and force Order to defend both sides, server room, default plant, but also then, you know, that drop down from lobby hatch, maybe even sort of through garage or main stairs. So you need to basically force Order into defending many different avenues. If you just go for a stock standard server default push and you've got like 3-4 people log jammed into server trying to push in, that's not going to work, especially with this current setup.
With Kaid banned, hatches free real estate. 8x Kairos split across 2 hatches and off open both of those up. Pretty good efficiency so far from the last dance. I think Jackal aiding just a little bit in ensuring that the top floor was clear, and we could see how swiftly and how confidently they were able to take that and now transition that control over towards these hatches. Now is the time where they need to get blue control and server as well if they want to go for default. It's time to start pressuring that, start exploiting some of that utility and baiting it out. Good drones established. Ape can push forward, but we need to see a hard breach push this position.
Yeah, and I'm a little concerned here. There's a lot of bodies now over towards server, and this is sort of what I was getting at. Minute 20 seconds left. You're now going to see the Shamika launcher do its thing. It's going to obviously get those incendiaries on the floor. You're still going to have 3 gas babes.
They're not hitting the mark though. They're way too deep, and Ricks might be able to get a plant, but that's where the smoke canisters come in play. I would say at this point,
they are spending a lot of utility all at once.
This is not efficient. This is not efficient. Last Dance will have at least 30 seconds to work with here for a couple of plant attempts.
There's only 1 gas babe left, 6 incendiaries, but there's a minute. Like, they've completely misplayed this. Unless they're just not too worried about the last 20, 30 seconds of the round. But yeah, Ricks is obviously just trying to force out that last gas babe. He can go in after this. There's no more incendiaries either.
The only thing that's stopping them planting are the gas babes. The Shamika launcher is doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well, obviously I understand that, but yeah, this has just been completely misplayed from Order. Unless this is some weird 5,000 IQ that I haven't quite seen. The obvious advantage is they've still got that 1 extra player than the Last Dance, and the fact that the Last Dance are still just trying to push their way through. Hoven drops down, and he finds the kill onto Nico. They can't even rely on the Yokai drone anymore, but fortunately, Jackdad finds a couple, so does Nico Bailey. That was not one for the highlights reel, not one for the archives, but all to get the round win.
They did it, despite that util expenditure being very poor and the Tachanka not having any impact in that round. Somehow they still get it across the line. Quite a wild round, as Ravens put it in the chat. That's how I would describe it. Last Dance did a good job. They took top quickly. They got the hatches open quickly. They didn't stall out too hard and they baited out the utility, but then at that final point, at that final push, it all fell apart. And realistically, it could have been even worse. That first Nitro didn't even hit the mark. If that found its target, it would have been over even faster. So, good back there from Order. Going forward, they don't need the Tachanka, or Nate needs to work out that lineup because that was pretty poor, and luckily they got away with it.
And obviously just a reference as to sort of why you're saying it's poor is that it was landing in the doorway, but not landing in the default planting position. So Ricks was able to actually get into a position where he could plant if it weren't for those gas babes. And as then to echo your words, meaning that the Tachanka was essentially doing nothing.
It looked cool though. The flames do look kind of nice.
It always looks cool. Well, Order do get the round win. And honestly, in a best of 3 series, you're going to have a couple of rounds where maybe you don't play at 110%, maybe you don't even play at 100%, but you still walk away with the round win. And that's going to go both ways. Last Dance is going to get a round or 2 like that in the best of 3 series, and obviously for Order. And, well, that's your one, right? Like, and from there, you now need to say, okay, we got that one. Didn't quite play it as good as we could have, yet we got it anyway. So let's improve from there, and let's keep getting those round wins rolling. Good start, though, for Order to at least get one on the board in the first round. That's the most critical part, is to not allow the Last Dance to just continue that momentum that they had at the back end of the last map on Chalet, where, you know, they ended up winning 5 of the last 7 rounds.
Everyone's open area. That's an operator we don't see every day. Told you on the IQ. Extremely niche. In fact, I can't even think of the last time I've seen an IQ in competitive Siege. Not entirely viable with her kit, but with some of the recent reworks, a little bit more so in detecting utility and being able to ping it out for the rest of the team. So in that sense, useful to an extent. You can spot out Valkyrie cameras, for example, and ensure they have a read as to where those Maestro pieces of utility and Banshees from the player in Jack Daddy as well may be. So
and just quickly here, but I feel like Valk is usually banned on Bank. And yet it's obviously, you know, available, and we're seeing Bailey employ it now. I do wonder how much of an impact that may have.
Well, Order elected to ban Mirror, right? So if you're banning Mirror and letting Valk through, you need to be playing the Valk.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to.
Obviously, Castle as well gets through at times, does get banned out on Bank. It is quite prevalent, especially for sites like CEO Executive. This is the case though when you have that sort of Finker ban, which is not always like a given, but in this instance it's clearly being a bit of a target ban in this series, and so therefore that kind of opens things up, and then there's other different bans here and there. The Mirror gets taken out. Thatch is usually a given as well. So far, no real engagement with just a minute left on the clock as well.
Yeah, it's really just been a lot of groundwork, a lot of soft destruction, tearing down these castle barricades, establishing Verd up above with the likes of the Buck and the Skeleton Key. You can see that Order are a little bit timid on the side itself, but not under immediate pressure as of yet. Only 40 seconds left now for the Last Stands to formulate their attack. Mute Gem is causing issues as well with drones. I don't know where they're going to find an in on this particular round. Someone needs to go large and find these picks.
Hoven's at square at the moment, but Jack Dad down below. Oh, he finds... Wait, what? Rix gets a kill onto dirt.
Up above.
Okay, up above. That makes a little bit more sense. Well, Jack Dad, well, they obviously are going to expect one player to try and flank from blue stairs. Order, though, winning fights elsewhere. Hoven over towards square, at least able to deal with that flanker in Jack Dad, but there's only 5 seconds left in the round.
Ooh.
No chance that they're going to be able to win this one.
You're not wrong. Order claim the round, locking out the site, much like round number 1. Again, Last Dance, good groundwork. Decent control around the map. They had up above as well, hatches open, lines of sight. But when it comes to that final push, their ability to trade out the site is lacking. And Order locking down these objectives, playing off one another a little bit better. A good flank as well from Jack Daddy. And so far, they're not playing perfectly on the side of the defense, but they're doing a good job in playing percentages where they can.
You don't need to play perfect, though. And obviously, I think, you know, they're playing the basics pretty well, right? Like, and that's the main thing in this instance for Order. I mean, we won't talk too much about the Tachanka play basics in the last round, but I think, you know, for example, Jack Dad hanging around blue stairs, so important on open area stuff, knowing that the attackers are going to be going for that square control. You need to have someone down there that can either push up if they push in into sight and then come in behind, or forces them to then go and clear it. Hoven gets into square, but he can't push on sight because he needs to clear the player over towards blue stairs, and then Order win fights elsewhere. So Order set up really nicely. They won their fights. And on a site like open area staff room, it's so important to win your ones because there's not always going to be those trades because you are so spread out. CEO Executive is where we go for our 3rd round. And now for Order, they have an opportunity to do the World Tour on Bank defensively. That is absolutely the perfect start here on their map pick if they can achieve it, especially on a site like CEO Executive. What's surprising to me, though, is that Nico has got off the castle on this objective.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. All the objectives where we would typically and traditionally see a castle in play, it's on this site. And the main reason for that is due to the external repels. Typically, you place 2 barricades on airlock, left of screen. You can also potentially place castle barricades over towards the banana balcony, which Sky, our observer's showing now, to protect from the repel over towards parking lot on the western side of the map. You can also sometimes use it to lock out stock, bottom of screen now. So the castle quite adaptable, but Order not needing to, or not feeling the need to lean into that. And it's not a necessity by any stretch. Typically those castle barricades are taken down quite easily, and there's a sledge on the board anyway, so an argument could be made that it wouldn't be too tricky to clear. Sophia as well for those airlock barricades. Nonetheless though, maybe weakens the defense here a little bit for Order against that repel game if the Last Dance commit to that approach.
Well, I think thinking about it from maybe Order's perspective here is they've actually put thought into, do we really need the castle? And therefore, if we don't need the castle, how are we going to then play this site? And if those are the conversations they've been having as a team for Bank, then it probably puts into volume as to why they've picked this map. Clearly, they've put some thought process behind the way that they want to play here on Bank. And again, similar to sort of open area staff, this spread effect from Order is in play, but this time for CEO Exec, and putting a large emphasis on maintaining control over towards the corridor, rather than on site and rather than denying the repellers.
And that's mainly why the Mute in particular has been picked as that substitution, able to place a jammer on that stock wall. Nico can play behind the deployable shield, plenty of ADS devices to cover that position, one of which was taken down, but 2 still standing. And once the second reactivates, that's 2 more pieces of utility that will be eaten up. Last Dance, though, they're still keen to push this. X-Kairos on the wall, Nico exposed, that Mute gem again taken down, so now he's under the pump a little bit. Nico, though, wanting to press, thinks better of it, falls back, and survives.
Yeah, really nice little reposition from Nico. Again, you've got a minute and, well, soon to be 5 seconds left. You don't have a whole lot of time now for the Last Dance. You can give up that shield. You don't have to go down with it, and it's a really good reposition. They're always going to get into stock, but at least if they're going to get in there, they're going to get in there late. Bailey finds Rix. There is a trade, though. Bailey can't get away with his life intact. Ape will catch him. But now there's only 45 seconds left in the round, and still mainstairs control established for order. Site control still established for order.
They have a lot of powerful crosses. The only thing going the way of the last dance.
Oh, is he going to
most
go
of
for
these
a
plays
vault?
are locked out. Not really the play. 4 versus 4. It's 30 seconds. Order need to try and lock down side, and Derpy does a good job in achieving that onto Hoven. Nitro from down below in towards Stock doesn't hit the mark from Nico, but still Order with the positional advantage.
Yeah, and there's too many players from the last dance as well coming in from the terrace side rather than the Repel game. They have not been able to clear out that position of Nico though, and Jack Dad and Derpy find their kills. It's the World Tour for Order here on Bank. They are looking much better here than they did on Chalet. A quick 3-0 start.
The last dance playing straight into the hands of the Aussies. They had that set up over towards Stock. The last dance still elected to push it, wasting time in utility. Order didn't bring the castle. Yeah, the last dance not once repelled and tried to counter some of those crossfires. It seems like at the moment Order have their opponents numbered on this map. We didn't quite know what to expect. In fact, we had nothing to expect, really no expectation, as there was no results leading into this one. But so far I think they've proved that for the most part their defenses are solid enough to get rounds across the line.
And so this is where we go back down to Locker CCTV, and now I'm going to actually question whether or not Nate is doing this on purpose and trying to just only block off the doorway with little care to the rotation hole, or if it was a misplay. Because if he does it the same way again, then I think it's actually intentional, and I think they're putting more emphasis then on the yokai drone of Nico and the gas babes of Jack Dad for the actual denial, and the incendiaries to actually just block the doorway. Now, what's your rebuttal to that, Guz?
If it's deliberate, it's not the play. Simple as that. There's no reason to be denying the doorway when you could... I don't know the lineup exactly, but from what I understand, you need to hit the emergency exit sign above the door. That will put it down exactly to cover both the doorway and the wall itself. You can actually do both. You don't need to pick one or the other. The spread is just wide enough to deny default and the door entry as well. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Nonetheless, it's important to remember that even if the intention from Order is to hit that and hit it in the middle, they won't know that. They wouldn't have had the intel as to where those flames are exactly hitting. The only way they would know is from scrimming and looking back at those match replays and having the lineup set. You can't do that in a live environment. You're not having your coach come in and tell you, oh guys, you're missing this. It's not going to be on the cards. So excited to see how that plays out. But again, important to remember, despite that, they still won the round because the last dance really flailed in that final push. Much like that last push, they've taken swift control above, and I'm anticipating the hatches to be opened quickly. The round really is going to come to life in the last 30 to 45 seconds.
That final execute's going to be the main difference really in this round. Last dance will obviously get all these hatches opened up. They'll go through the checklist. Seeing this time and time again on Bank. A lot of this does obviously come down to the way that Order is setting up. If you set up a little bit differently for Locker CCTV, then obviously the attackers have to themselves play it a little bit differently. At times, for example, in the past, I know the Chiefs used to like to employ Fisher Guy playing blue stairs, for example, and playing a little bit more aggressive there. But that's not something that the Tachanka smoke setup likes to employ. They allow server to be taken basically straight away.
With no buffer over towards server.
Yeah, same spot.
It's free real estate. And those flames, again, not hitting the mark on the default plants. You can see that gap just to the left.
That was a little closer.
Yeah. So see what you can see the angle now.
Oh, there we go.
It's hitting that emergency side properly now. Okay, this is slightly better from there.
There we go.
This is what we love to see. That's perfect. Yeah. And Jack Daddy, unlike last time, hasn't been forced to use a babe as of yet. Now, 70 seconds on the board. This is effectively red time. It's not necessarily red time.
He is going through those incendiaries very quickly, though.
Doesn't matter, right? There's still 3 gas babes left. It's 45 seconds of denial.
That is the biggest difference. Last time out, they were using the incendiaries and the gas babes at the same time. This time, Jack Dad has been a little bit more conservative with the gas babes, only just now using the first one. No more incendiaries, though, from Nate. But remember, you've still got Nico as well with the yokais.
Denial upon denial upon denial, and Last Dance will likely need to make their move. I'm expecting Tolji, if he doesn't hold up above, to aggress. Ape as well, positioning over towards Garage. We see that yokai stick up to the roof. This is going to be a battle to the death in the final 30 seconds.
Lay the nest.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for the last dance now. Rix tries to go in, but he gets denied by said denial. Jack Dad, with that final gas babe, gets that elimination. Adimpa picks up the diffuser, but I'm sure there's a Yokai drone. Never mind, Nico goes down anyway to Abe. So he might actually be able to get this down, and if so, if successful, there's a chance that the last dance can maybe hold on. Abe has been able to go bananas here. It's a 3 versus 2 advantage. I said to Robert, get that one in. He's got a quad. Derpe in a 1 versus 3 is not bringing it back, but he will at least deny the ace.
20 seconds. Derpe, he knows that he's going to be watched from 2 dangerous angles, server and the hatch. A good response on this objective from the last dance.
And it's you know what the worst thing about that round was? Order actually played it better than the round that they won.
That's what's so confusing about this damn game, man.
Sometimes you can play better and still lose, and sometimes you can play bad and still win. Welcome to Siege.
Well, the biggest difference was Ape and that push through Garage, because he stopped the Yokai, he killed Nico at the perfect moment, right as that denial was going to happen. And then, as you quote said, went bananas, found not just 3, but 4 kills in the end on that particular occasion. He was the brightest of the bunch, some may say, in finding those kills. And really did aid in winning the round.
Yeah, and that's the biggest difference maker that you need on that objective. If you are attacking, you can't just have 4 players bunched up into server, all trying to forcibly fit your way in to CCTV to either defend the plant or get the plant down or be a bodyguard or whatever. You need something somewhere else, basically. Whether it's garage, whether it's coming down main stairs, whether it's even dropping lobby hatch and being a nuisance late round. You need something else, and in that instance, that's the reason why Last Dance were able to win that round. Even if Ape doesn't actually hit all of those shots, and is only able to get 1 or 2 kills there, and the rest of it then is all done by those from server, that would have been fine. Honestly, hits his shots, gets a couple more kills, and they get the round. Order need to respond. They don't go back down to locker CCTV, they head back to open areas and stuff.
Why are you being so passive-aggressive right now, Jake? Don't really like your attitude.
Am I?
Yeah, apparently. Not a fan.
Well, I don't know how I'm being passive-aggressive.
This is just your normal behavior.
Who am I? What? How am I? What?
Worry,
I'm so confused right now.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm actually so confused. Do you want to fill me in?
No.
All right. I feel like you're being passive-aggressive now.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Jeez. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. We can kiss and make up later.
All right.
A bomb has been located.
2 minutes left though here in the 5th round, and the Last Dance finally starting to build something here. But I'll need to dismantle this open area defense, which last time, again, quite strong from Order, able to lock out the attack in the final segments of that particular round. Much like their last attempt, the Last Dance will head up above. Oh, that's a cheeky angle over the reinforcement. Didn't know that was a viable strategy. Might be able to catch a player off the side of Kitchen. Hoven, oh, he just misses the shot. That would have been a huge entry, but not meant to be.
And only a minute and a half remaining. I think it's denied. Big denial to stop that sightline being opened up. Hoven does find a kill. He gets a second one. Actually, he did get the sightline opened up. I'll take that one back. And Jack Dad has to make a move here. This is the player he needs to be stopping. Like, if you're playing that blue stairs position, you need to stop the player that's going to be pushing through square. Your team is falling apart one by one. Make a move. Get involved. Probably too late now, though. Nate through beepers. Can't win that one. He did actually... They traded. So, I don't know. Did he win it or lose it? I guess both. And Jack Dad's still holding blue stairs. Maybe he'll pop out in the next round.
Says hi. And Hoven says goodbye. Another good round from the Last Dance. Now they're really starting to actually push forward on this, I guess, mini reverse sweep, right? The first half, a little bit disappointing. They were doing good groundwork on these attacks, but now it seems like finally they've found the key to unlock these defensive setups from Order. And now worrying signs for the Aussies once more. Remember, if you've just joined us, map 1, Order also had a strong start. A 5-3 lead at a certain point in time, and then the last dance able to bring that back.
5-3 is not really a start. At that point, that's halfway through the game.
True, but it was a significant lead. That's what I'm talking about.
I do agree, though, here on Bank. Great start for Order. And obviously now, Last Dance are right back into it. I will say, at least for me, in terms of the feeling on Chalet, it felt back and forth, at least until, obviously, Last Dance won the last 3 in the round. But it felt more a little bit back and forth between the rounds. Whereas, obviously, here, we're more so looking at these little streaks. 3 in a row for Order, now 2 in a row for the Last Dance. And remembering, of course, Order already down 1-0 in the map, right? They cannot afford the Last Dance to get on a momentum roll too big. They need to stop this dead in its tracks here in the final round of this half, go to 4-2. But I gotta say, CEO Executive, it's not always the best for defenders. They did win out last time, though, despite not bringing the castle. They brought the Mute, played the corridor, worked out pretty well for them.
Derpay, oh my god, the wall bang to open things up.
Attackers have located a bomb.
That
Big.
was disgusting.
Yeah, and it gives them that little advantage for the rest of this entire round now. Nico can continue to play this corridor position freely. He's got the ADSs. Yeah, he'll get droned out, but there's not much that they can really do. The only time he moved away from this position last time out in the 3rd round was simply due to time. There was only like a minute left. He was starting to feel like they were getting control of stock. In fact, actually, someone has just gone in. Derp's got to be careful. He was low on health, and yeah, Hoven does catch him. And Hoven, 7-2-1, has been massive here on Bank for the Last Dance, especially in the last couple of rounds. But Nico still holding that hallway position, has not fallen back yet. Does he get antsy? Does he go for the peak? No, he goes for a nitrous on the wall. And because of that, the animation means he can't get his gun out in time. Hoven gets a double. Advantage for Order has completely dissipated. Last Dance with a minute 40 have got a 1-man advantage now, 4 versus 3.
Unlike last time leaning into that rappel game, Nate needs to be very careful. His position exposed. You can just see how many lines of sight honed in on his position, but he's not backing down without a fight, looking to find something over towards top square, and Bailey repositions over towards elevated, hold down the line as well. And he still has Yokais that he can use and feed that information to both Nate and Jack Daddy. And there we go. Nate does in fact find his mark. No trade. Another angle exposing him though, and the rappel is still in play.
Oh, Nate. Risky, but Nate loves these bolts. He thought about it in round 3, didn't do it, but he does it here on Tetology. Order retake the advantage. Nate has plenty of time to get back into a decent defensive position. Sneaky spot now for Hoven into CEO, but does not have the diffuser. That's with Ape. But he may catch them here, and he should catch Jack Dad. 3 in the round, 2 versus 2. Bailey so low, dead. Ape catches him. Hoven gets another one, and the Last Dance make it 3 in a row. Order are on the brink of APAC South elimination if they can't fight back here on Bank. It's 3-3. 3 rounds in a row to the Last Dance.
Yeah, really well done by Hoven. Such an amazing push, able to push deep in towards the objective, catching Jack Daddy off guard, and then had the game sense. He knew that Nate would rotate back up Banana, switched on, found that kill, was always going to win that engagement. A little bit concerning that despite Yokai's maybe still being available, the information not there. They did not know that Hoven had pushed deep and were unable to deny that play. 3 straight for the Last Dance. What a statement to make.
It's concerning for Order. It's probably not tactical timeout time just yet, but it's close to it. In fact, so much so, if the Last Dance win this first round of the second half, you've got to call that tack straight away before it gets too out of hand.
Defused by attackers.
And this is where now the pressure is entirely on the shoulders of Order. If they won the first 3 rounds, guys, right, and had probably was that a little bit of pressure relieved after going down to map, you're up 3-0, Well, now it's all back on their shoulders, and maybe even more so. There's 4 rounds away from Order being out of APAC South for the entire calendar year.
Lots of pressure now starting to mount. It's got to be frustrating to have a perfect first 3 rounds and then for it to switch on its head the fashion in which it did. No doubt would have taken a little bit of toll here, of a toll on Order. Let's see though what they can produce on the attack. I'm loving this from Bailey. The Montang being brought out straight out of the gates for round number 7. Yet to see shields in play here. And on Bank, you also have the added benefit of the double secondary hard breach as well.
And the stark contrast in terms of the defensive approach already here for CEO Executive, where Hoven's on the castle, setting up those barricades, making that repel side a little bit weaker. And obviously you see the benefits to sort of what Order were thinking because of the stock push, or square push, or just generally anything coming from that terrace area. You can obviously then understand that maybe the barricades aren't quite worth it, but then in that last round, we see the last dance, they get on the repel. They're like, okay, we can send a couple of players from that avenue. We can sneak a player on site because they're more concerned with the hallway. And so that can also then be the negativity of that sort of setup. Let's see how Order, though, attack here on Bank. Remember, coming into this match, Order have not played Bank competitively since it came back into the map pool. So we came into this with a bit of unknown. And as we're into round 7, some questions have been answered. There's still a few more questions, though, that need to be answered.
Hoven on in the castle over towards front desk, 10 and 2 so far, but this might be one of his more challenging engagements as I say that. It's the caster curse onto Derpe, taken off the board, and that's the hard breach dealt with, at least one of them. Now in the grave, Bailey needs to make himself known, apply some pressure. Jack Daddy clears Toji with that nade over towards the elevator. That should open up this pathway for this attack.
Bomb located by attackers.
Oh, so much information off this Gemini. So much information. More than you would usually get. They know there's a player long desk. They know there's a player on site. Minute left. Plenty of time for Order to make use of that info. Honestly, I'd have eyes on Hoven though right now. 11-2-1. He is the star man for the last dance. Nate, he's actually gone for the flank over towards Square. It's Ape who gets rid of Nico. Big player to go down. Jack Dad and Nate though landing their shots, and now all of a sudden Order with a one-man advantage. It's only Aiden per left, and he's got no health over towards bot Square. 30 seconds left. Bailey will get the plant down, but Nate will get the elimination. Order stop the momentum of the last dance. They get a much-needed round win.
Good momentum building exercise there for Order. Loving the fact that they leaned into that shield. Wasn't the sole reason, obviously, that they won that round. It was a good trade early on from Jack Daddy to clear elevator that opened up the site nicely. Good swing late as well on the opposite side of that map over towards Square. Last Dance felt the pinch. Order able to get that win. Now we head over towards staff room and open area. Interestingly enough, Last Dance electing not to go to basement as of yet. Maybe going upstairs first was a questionable decision, but that's with hindsight in mind, and Bank for the most part, I mean, any side can be viable if you play it properly.
And just to remind everyone, Clubhouse after this, if necessary, if Order can win here on Bank.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
They go up 4-3 now. They started off 3 and zip before Last Dance brought it back to close out the first half. But a good start for Order. Let's see how the Last Dance can now respond with open area staff and how they're going to set this up. Really not too much of a change up. They will stick with the castle. Capcan has seen a lot of play here on Bank from both teams as well. And for Bailey, still on the Monty.
10 seconds to go.
Enough prancing around. Time to take them down.
5 seconds to insertion. Attackers
I'm really looking at Rix here to have an impact. Hasn't been felt on the scoreboard directly, only 1 kill. He's died in almost every round and yet to claim an assist, or an official assist at least. that number doesn't take into account information that he's likely feeding to Hoven and Ape to find these kills, and with him on that echo role, expecting him to continually feed information to the team here. Order keen for control of Valve, rightly so. Nico will want to establish a foothold, use that skeleton key to flush out some of these positions on the extension. For example, you have Tolji inside of Archives. Towers as well will need to be cleared if Bailey wants to push for there as well.
Deploying C4. Reloading! Only before the storm. Detonating!
That's one way to find the opening elimination. Nico going down to that Nitrocell of Tolji.
Loading mag!
And making quick work of those castle barricades.
Slow and steady for Bailey. Spots Tolji. Oh, was keen to push. There is information here though for the last dance. You can hear that Yokai in the background. They have a read as to where this push is coming from. Jack Daddy misses those shots, but also narrowly avoids death. Still a 4v5 for Order.
Yeah, and some of these Order players do need to be careful because they're not quite in trade range. Now Jack Dad and Nate can kind of trade off of each other, at least from square. 55 seconds left to go. Derpay above, so a little bit more of an emphasis now over to this square position. Oh, Hoven's down. Nate finds it through the whole of the Maverick of Jack Dad, and that is a big play to take off the board.
Bomb has been located.
Now 11-4-1, 2 deaths in a row for Hoven without finding elimination back the other way. He has just been stalled a little bit in the last 2 rounds. But only 35 seconds left. At least that rotation hole has been opened up. Rix, I think, was getting a little antsy. And Impa can't find a kill. He's still on that donut. Oh! The flank from Blue Stairs! The triple kill, catching Order off guard. You should be always expecting that flank from Blue Stairs. Nate into Electrical to save the day. Forces the 1 versus 1 red time. He has the ping, he has the information, and most importantly, he has the diffuser. But he needs to find a position to get this down. He doesn't have time. There is absolutely no way that Nate wins this. Tolji plays it perfectly. What a flank, though, from Ape. What a round from the last dance. What a calamity from Order.
What a play, the blue flank. We see it so many times. We've seen it so many times across so many matches of Siege, where teams are able to get away with that play. Nate outside in Electrical, a great attempt in the clutch, but what was he watching during that portion of the round? There's no one outside there. A big oversight from Order. They did so much good groundwork on that open area wall. They found good kills, and Last Dance were clearly under a lot of pressure.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's one of those situations where sometimes, just sometimes, those little moments you just let slip, and that's just one of them for Order. It happens. It's a close game. It's a very important match. Sometimes you're going to have mistakes happen. Unfortunately for Order, it's cost them dearly. When you don't have anyone watching that flank in any way, shape, or form, or any sort of flank watch in anything, whether it's a gadget, whether it's a person, that's what can happen. And that's the round over, just like that. Last Dance get the round win. And as you were saying, they did everything perfectly before that. The Maverick over towards square, they had the Nate getting a couple of kills through the holes. I mean, everything worked out perfectly.
5 seconds left. Attackers
until the
have
end,
located a
until the
bomb.
execution. And now it's 4-4.
Attackers
The
have
Order need to
located
put
the
that
diffuser bomb.
immediately in the back of their lines. And now their focus turns to round 9.
I just find it remarkable that there are 2 players on the Last Dance, Rix and Adam Power, that have only combined for 1 kill across 8 rounds.
Or you can say that Hoven and Ape have combined for 22.
I think it really does go to show just how strong their fragging power is, and
Yep.
Also proving to all the ranked plebs out there like me, perhaps, that maybe don't have the strongest KD, that you
Whoa.
can still have an impact and your team can still win games. And at the end of the day, a win's a win.
Not even passive aggressive anymore. Now you're just aggressive.
Hey, it was aggressive towards myself.
That's all right. Don't do that though, man. Don't do that to yourself.
Sorry, it's a little bit self-deprecating.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Nothing but love here.
Yep. That's what we're all about here in APAC.
And we got ourselves a really, really good series as well. It was 7-5 on Chalet, for those who missed it. Last Dance won 5 of the last 7 rounds to close it out and take that map away from Order after a good start from Order. And likewise here on Bank, Order started really well, 3-0 up. That one just missing Ape. But now, and this is the damning stat, 4 of the last 5 rounds have gone the way of the Last Dance.
Swinging back that momentum. Bailey again on the one-tang on this round. Oh, Hoven.
Oh, he got him! Nico!
Caught off guard. Wow. That is a clean shot. It wasn't even a headshot, so dealing a lot of damage there. Really well played by Nico, and that's a cheap kill for Order.
And that's 3 rounds now in a row where Hoven has actually gone for a donut. So that 11-2 scoreline, now 11-5. They have been at least able to shut down him, who has been so amazing here on Bank. But obviously, in his absence, Ape has been able to stand up on the vigil now, being a pester, obviously trying to get rid of him, but able to fall back down. Rix will deal with that Gemini of Nate. Minute 5 seconds left, and Bailey will now make his way down blue stairs. Derpay opens up that hatch. But there's a lot of bodies over towards Square. Are they going to have someone, though, somewhere else to provide a different avenue of attack?
Nico just opening up those soft walls, easier navigation across open area, Square, and some new lines of sight down to the hatch as well. Now it's crunch time. 40 seconds. Order need to think about the plan, but they might be able to just frag out. 3 versus 5. Adding power drops as well. Now Tolji and Rix need to produce a miracle. Tolji is on the flank though.
Oh, well, this is kind of what caught Order in the last round. That flanking player may catch them again. Somehow gets down to the hatch safely, but the Nitrocell goes all the way to the bottom, down to server. Catches Jack Dad. They lose Nate to Rix, and suddenly that 2-man advantage. It's now only a 3 versus 3, and Order just don't have the time. They're going to send it in, and Derpay's going to get that diffuser down. Tolji, it's again the flank that has caught Order during the execution phase. Adimpa gets Bailey. Derpay, unfortunately, yes, he got the plant down, but he's in a 1 versus 1. Rix, though, beats him in the end. They'll get the counter defuse, and the Last Dance go up 5-4 here on Bank. Order can just not find a way to execute down the stretch.
Order cannot catch a break. The Last Dance again, winning a round at the death. And much like the last round, it should not have been theirs. Order had full control, full manpower, a decent advantage, and it falls apart.
5-4. The Last Dance are 2 rounds away from making it into APAC South for 2022. They have been the better team over the course of these 2 maps, but you cannot count Order out just yet. They have the experience. They've been in these positions before. It's about digging deep and finding that extra little bit of willpower and desire to get back into this series. And even in the last 2 rounds, those have been winnable rounds for Order, Guz. Now that obviously sucks for them, and you might want to feel a little down and sorry for yourself, but at least you've been in those winnable positions. It's time to pick yourselves up and go again and try and tie this up 5-5.
And this is the perfect objective to do so. We head back above. CEO exec. This was the objective that the Last Dance attempted on their first defensive effort. And Order were able to win that round out. They did a good job pushing lobby, flushing out elevator. They had, I believe, Nate push Square late, force the pinch. It was well played by Order, who for every round have been in a quote-unquote winnable position. They've been in a favorable advantage, and much like you said, Jake, they need to just stay as focused as humanly possible, pick themselves back up, do the fundamentals properly in this round. Do not allow Last Dance.
They've been doing the fundamentals properly for the last 3 rounds. It's not the fundamentals that's letting them down, it's their late round execution.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I still agree with you. They obviously need to continue to do those fundamentals right. Sometimes I feel like mentally, when it's the execution that's letting you down, you may think, oh, we got to change things up earlier in the round. But no, stay focused. Fundamentals have been good. Let's keep doing the basics right. And let's just be a little bit more patient maybe with that execution phase. Maybe a bit more emphasis on making sure there's no flanks. I mean, like, the flank watch has been just not... It's just been non-existent.
Once again, Bailey posts himself at the top of the stairs, and Nate, much like that previous round, will scout ahead
Attackers have located a bomb.
with the Gemini. They spot that elevator's clear. That's a tick for order.
Wow.
That's not. Hoven once again popping off, and Nate falls.
Well, this is the thing. 3 rounds in a row, he hasn't been popping off, right? So you can't quite expect him to have it be 4 times in a row that he's going to go for a donut. He's going to awaken at some point, and he does so here with the opening kill onto Nate.
Dope on the upside down rappel. What can he find? Oh, it's a good trade. But it's only a down. And Antipower might be able to survive. Push elsewhere. Long corridor.
Hoven.
And Hoven just keeps mowing them down. One by one with the UMP. Jack Daddy's so low. The defense have information. There's yokai bursts being sent out, and it's falling apart for the attack.
It's falling apart for Order. And their dreams of making it back to APAC South are on the precipice here. Rex gets involved. Order literally falling apart now at the seams. Bailey on the Montang. I mean, there's so much that he needs to do here, and yet almost does anyway. Gets a bit of damage onto Tolji. Durpay, can he wind back the clock a little bit? Well, actually, Nico needs to wind back the clock a little bit, and he falls 2 to Rex. It's match point. It's series point. It's APAC South point for the last dance.
Will we see a new name in APAC South? We are yet to have any new names enter APAC North or APAC South as of this stage, but the last dance edging closer to that achievement. It's been a big couple of days for them, and today no exception. They have been digging so deep in this series. That last round, relentless pressure, did not give Order a single opportunity to get themselves in that quote-unquote favorable position that we've seen from them so far. That was their most convincing defensive round win, shutting out that attack completely. They got the opening kill as
Attackers need to
well.
locate and defuse as many
Huge.
bombs as they can.
The tension in the air right now for any Order fan would be palpable. For any Australian fan as well, just wanting to see the Aussie teams basically reign supreme in APAC South. Well, it seems like SEA are taking over for 2022, and rightfully so as well. Not only did the last dance
5 seconds to insert.
get rid of Team Bliss, they also had to get rid of the Hunters in round 1. They have done
Attackers are
the
moving out to
absolute
locate a bomb
most.
and defuse it.
3 best of 3s to get into APAC South. They've won 2 of them. They're now 1 round away from winning a 3rd and securing their spot. And this is where they now need to keep focus. It's a bit weird, right? They've got all of the momentum. They're up a map. But sometimes you can have it in your grasp and you can just let it slip. Order will be giving everything they've got in this round. Quite literally, their future depends on it.
4th place in the SEA Championship for the last dance to qualify for this tournament, and with Sharper losing yesterday to Ruffle, they're the last hope for fresh representation from Southeast Asia here in APAC South. A lot of pressure riding on this round. Order on the flip side, wanting to fly the flag proudly for the Oceanic region. A lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. It's an open area defense here for the last dance. Order looking to take horizontal control Nico with the vert. He's up above once again, tasked with trying to flush out archives. This is a big engagement. If they can find Tolji, that cat can to the left of screen, it opens up the passage for order.
Oh my
Nico
God.
loses the fight though. Tolji from down below. That is sharp.
Well, he's only down though, not out just yet. They'll need to send probably Jack that up to go and get him back up. Bailey finds an elimination onto Tolji due to that information. So at the very least for order, they are up a player and they can get that revive onto Nico. Nate over towards top square. Minute 20 seconds remaining in the round. Last Dance would not want to lose this opportunity. They don't want this to go to overtime. For order, everything they've got to put it into this round right now. And they even get a reprieve. Nico's back up. He could have really been down for the count. So they've got the player advantage with 1 minute left.
Order did a good job last time, pushing over towards bot square. They opened up open area, exposed angles, found picks. That might be the play here. They just need to be mindful, of course, of that flank down below from blue. Ape, again, the player in this position. It is critical that if Order go for that same push, they don't make that same mistake, but Nico feeds him. A 4 versus 4. Nate goes down for the hunt, needs to hit this trade. This is a big, big engagement for Nate.
And time is now a factor. 30 seconds remaining. There's a player prone on the backside here, and it catches Dirtbay. Adimpa gets that elimination. There are a trade, though. Nate gets Ape. 3 versus 3, but only 20 seconds left. And Diffuser is not in the hands of Order currently. They need to rush onto site, find kills. It's not going to happen. Adimpa gets another one. They lose Jack Dad. Not only do they lose Jack Dad, they lose Nate. They lose their spot in APAC South. The GGs come out. The Last Dance find victory. 3 best of 3s. It doesn't matter for the SCA team. Welcome to APAC South for 2022.
They did it the hard way. 3 matches in a row. They are the victors. They are deserving of this spot. What a performance. Order sent packing. A disappointing end for them. But let's bask in the glory for Southeast Asia. Well done to the Last Dance.
Well done to the Last Dance, and for the Pride of Indonesia, they will be playing in APAC South this year, and they deserved position in APAC South this year as well. They took down the Hunters 2-0.